January is a busy month of my family, all right? We got my brother's birthday, January 4th. We got my aunt's birthday, January 15th. Me on the 18th. Then my sister on the 21st, mom on the 24th, dad on the 29th. So it's a lot of cake. It's a lot of cake. All right, yeah, so anyhow, the good news is my brother lives by, he lives in DC. Yeah, I'm gonna be hanging out with him for 2 days. And then after that, yo, you already know we got to tour the city. They got MGM, Maryland Live, Baltimore, Horseshoe, so we're going to have to check all those out, you know, maybe post some hands up and hey, because a lot of people have been asking, yo, ssUperSoak, can you poker? And you know, listen, I'm just telling them, like, poker? I don't even know her. All right? But yeah, we're going to post some hands up and, you know, see what we got in the bag. Don't make fun of me too much because my style's a little unorthodox, to say the least. It's going to be a lot of, you know, the stuff that y'all normally don't be seeing. We'll go 1-3. You know, if that goes well, we'll go up to 2-5. If that goes well, we'll go 5-10. I don't know about that. I don't know about any higher than that though. I heard down in DC, I heard the big dogs be down there and the game's bigger than 5-10. If we're running good, you know, we might be down there 2 weeks. You know, we might 4 weeks, 8 weeks. We might be down there permanently. Who knows? So even when I went to Vegas, so I went to Vegas, just bought the one-way ticket, and I'm like, hey, we'll see how it runs. You know, if it runs good, I'll be here all summer. If it doesn't, hey, you know, I'll come back early. So yeah, we'll see. We will see if ssUperSoak can poke her. All right, guys, day 4 after celebrating my brother's birthday, 3 days. I think Friday came down, celebrated Saturday, celebrated Sunday, went to church, celebrated some more. So now we finally get to go to MGM, play some poker. So, yeah, my sister and brother-in-law, they live, maybe a mile from MGM, not even. So, yeah, we're definitely gonna go check it out, get some sessions in, game plan. We'll see how it runs, you know. Trip runs good, trip will run long, trip runs bad, trip will run very short. So, yeah, let's see if these cats down at MGM can poker. Bro, dude, I haven't even went down the elevator yet. Bro, if I was to spin around like 5 times, I probably couldn't even find my car at this point. Like, yo, this is something else. Yo, dude, MGM's nice, bro. They know how to build casinos down in DC. Believe that. Let's see if these cats down at MGM can poker. A question that poker players have been asking since the beginning of time. Can you bluff in low stakes games? I do this at every table. I watch people play and I start making a list of the players that I'm not paying off. All right, if I lose a big pot with a marginal hand, it's not going to be to you, or you. And so I make that list when I sit down. And then you make another list of players that you're going to fin value bet, or you're running over some other players. But rarely are you going to run into somebody that you're actually trying to balance against. So let's get into some hands against some of these nits. I didn't realize how nitty these guys were until this hand. How the one player at the table that's actually like playing some hands, making some bluffs, you know, trying to play some poker. He opens, middle position. Cutoff calls, nit, obviously. I'm on the button with king, queen, I call. The flop comes out, ace, ace, 10. The guy that raised pre-flop, he c-bets. The guy on the cutoff calls. I raise. First guy snap fold, you know, whatever, he's c-betting. The nit.
I've been playing with you for a couple hours, and I know what you're doing. I know what you're up to. I know what you're up to. You say I should call here. I should definitely call here. I gotta look you up. You know, if I fold, you're not even gonna show me.
He folds, it shows me an ace. Dude, listen. All right, look. Okay, I was never, ever expecting an ace to fold. But yo, that just goes to show the type of mistakes that a nittier player's going to make. You don't fold ace 3 there. You just don't do it. But the problem is people that like don't want to play against these type players, they don't, in my opinion, they don't stab at enough pots.
If they're playing tight, I'd try and go after some pots.
And to be honest, at a nittier table, I'm not really jamming my stack in as a bluff that often. And the reason why is you have to understand like the type of ranges they make it to the turn and river with. Like when they're making it to the turn and river and there's like big bets going in, their ranges are a lot tighter than your ranges by a lot. If the board backdoors weird, where like backdoor straights and flushes come in, that might be a spot specifically where I just like throw in like a 2x river bet or something against like some of these tighter players.
If they're playing tight, I try and go after some pots.
What mistake are they making? Can I exploit it? And they're making a mistake of folding too often. So basically a lot of the hands were just like, me raising pre-flop. And dude, I'm just like c-betting. Third pot, fourth pot. And it's like, yo, dude, you have to understand the mentality of the nit. No set, no bet. Let's say the board's like 10-7-5 and they're folding like nines here. Yeah, that's a mistake. It is what it is. It's a mistake. I want to take that for the cheapest price I can take. They're not calling a bet. They didn't flop top pair or draw. I don't like just c-bet everything. I'm not just like c-betting 100% of the time. There are hands I check. There's specific spots where I might go bigger, but that's generally most of the hands. And like playing like that way, like basically what ends up happening is you win a lot of small pots. Like you're going to win a ton of small pots. You're going to lose some medium ones. Most of the medium-sized pots you play, you're going to lose because it's going to be like some of the guys are going to adjust and they're going to start, floating you with the hands that they should be calling with in the first place. And then you're going to start double barreling them, and then like you're going to start triple barreling them. You get into this mode where they just like call, fold. Call pre, call flop, fold turn. Call pre, call flop, fold turn. Different nits play differently. Some don't fold to the river. But anyhow, you're going to lose most of the medium-sized pots because it's going to be like you triple barreled. They called you down. But you're going to win the huge pots. That's one thing I love about playing at like super nitty tables. When I sit down, I already know I'm going to win most of the small pots. I'm going to lose most of the medium-sized pots. And I'm going to win the ones for stacks. Like, because basically what's going to happen, and this happens every time I play at like a super nitty table, basically what ends up happening is you raise pre, two people call, you flop a straight draw. You bet a third pot. You get re-raised. They have a set. It is what it is. They have a set. Occasionally they might have slow played like kings or something and have like an overpair, but they have a set. They don't have top pair. They just call. They have a set. At that point, you call, you bink the turn, and you're stacking them. Like they're not folding a set. Like I understand, like these guys they're just not. And you're going to check the turn. They're going to bet huge because the board's getting scary. And a lot of people do that. When the board gets scary, they just start betting huge. And you're going to put them in, and they're going to call, and the board's hopefully not going to pair. All right, I'm going to say this again. This is not a coaching session, all right? Most of you guys are better than me. Most of you guys will wipe the table with me. But them nits, bro, dude, I'm like the nit cracker. Like, dude, I'm not getting beat up by nits. Like, when I see people get beat up by nits, I'm yo, this might have been my favorite hand at the table. This is like, dude, this is one of my favorite hands at the table. Two people limped, right? I got queens on the button, two people limp. I make it 15. Big blind calls, one other person calls, one of the limpers fold. So like roughly 45 after rake, call 45 in the pot because the rake or whatever. And the flop comes out rainbow. The first guy from the big blind leads out for 20 bucks. Here's the problem. In a spot where you've been at the table for 4 hours, you've seen a whole ton of flops, and you led out once, there's something called frequency. And here's the deal, dude. I'm just gonna go on the edge and say like you 1,000% have a set. Like, I mean, sometimes when people lead out like pot size, they have like an overpair, like they slow played an overpair pre-flop and let out. But dude, just the frequency of it, like, there's different frequencies for donk bets. Like, there's people that donk bet like pretty much when they hit any pair. Like they hit any pair, they donk bet. They're in that spot, they're going to be donk betting like 30% of the time. But also people that do it polarized, they're also going to be doing it like 20-30% of the time anyways. But yo, dude, the guy that like leads out once in 4 hours, like, I'm folding already. I'm already folding. The next guy, he does one of these. Ah, man. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
And the Grammy goes to...
And you guys know what happens next. He raises. And I'm like, yo, Oh my goodness. They both got sets. And then before I even do anything, the first guy, right? He starts doing his, oh man. And they're like both Hollywooding each other. I'm like, dude, they like both have a set here. This is crazy. The Grammy attempts that you see in low stakes games, like it's entertaining to watch. It's like a lot of okay. So check this, right? A lot of people that play low stakes, which the conversation you'll start hearing them say is, man, what's the difference between me and somebody who plays on TV? I can't answer that question for you because I've never played stakes that high, but I'll tell you the hugest difference between you and somebody that plays 5-10. One of the biggest differences is the people in the bigger games, they don't do the acting. They do not do the acting at all. Whenever they make a bet, they just make a bet. And if they're bluffing, it looks like whatever, they don't do nothing. And if they have the nuts, they make the bet and they don't do nothing. There's no acting that goes along with it. Basically, in low stakes games, players they create so many spots where they either have too many bluffs, and it's obvious that they have too many bluffs, or they create a lot of spots where they just always have the nuts, and they don't have nowhere near enough bluffs. And this is one of those spots where, like, when the dude, if he's leading out just with his sets, you're creating a lead-out frequency that is so small where it's, like, obvious that you're just super nutted. And players in bigger games don't do that. They don't give other players that are paying attention super easy folds. Like, bro, dude, heads up pot, I have aces, I fold here.
If they're playing tight, I try and go after some pots, or I might be playing conservative. Depends.
And you can say what you want. Somebody that leads out once in 4 hours, I'm just folding to them. But it is what it is. I'm not. You can have it. So yeah, the first guy, he goes all in. Second guy calls. First guy flopped a set. Second guy flopped 2 pair. But yo, dude, that was probably the funnest hand to watch. Like watching all the acting. Dude, it's just fun to watch for me. Listen, number one, this isn't like coaching. I'm not good. Like, most of you guys watching this are probably better than me to begin with. So like, this is not coaching. This is me on the trip, hanging out with you guys, trying to play. Actually, you guys can coach me. You guys can tell me how terrible I'm playing in some of these spots. DC got some super nits, and they was all at the same table, and I was right there with them. But dude, I'm out of breath. It's a good thing I took for this walk, bro. I'm like hopping and popping over here, just walking up this hill. This is a big hill. I'm trying to get up to the top of the hill over here. Here's my mentality, right? Especially low stakes, like 1-3 and 2-5. There are no Phil Ivies at 1-3 and 2-5. There's no Tom DeWans. There's not even any Annie Dukes. All right, those players are not at 1-3 and 2-5. When people start talking about like players being good and like low stakes, I'm like, yo, you do realize like we're all terrible, right? Like we're not good. We make a lot of mistakes. Like, I don't classify players like good, bad, tag. Like, I might use the word tag or nit just so other people understand like a basic general idea of what I'm trying to say about the player. But the way I classify players is, what mistakes are they making? Can I punish them for making that mistake? Like, when somebody says, is the game good? To me, it means, are there players that are making a lot of mistakes? But most people, they don't think that way. Most people say, are they making the specific mistake that they call way too wide of a range? You know, pre-flop and post. And like, yeah, that's one of many mistakes you can capitalize on. It's just one. Let's see if these cats down at MGM can poker.